Nobody drives in LA. Currently waiting for my train at the historic Broadway station. This episode, we sit down with my pal and fellow one-wheeler, Danny Vega. Danny is recently car-free and in the Echo Park area. He's also the host of AITA Pod, Am I the Asshole? And I've learned more about ethics from listening to Danny's podcast than I ever did at community college. In this episode, we talk about the one-wheel float life, car-free dating, and tearing it the up on the hills of Echo Park. If you want a little background context to this discussion, episode 687 of AITA includes a discussion about dating while car-free that inspired this episode. Danny's also got a killer Patreon, too. Looks like my train is here, and your podcast is here as well.
I did listen to the 99% Invisible. They went through the entire Robert Caro book about Robert Moses. I think it was like 30 episodes or something. So it's like, 30 hours of about one book. But it was interesting.
I did a sketch of Robert Moses on the train a couple of weeks ago. And Robert Moses, of course, is the guy who designed the freeway system and decided to just plow through the hearts of all of America's major metropolises. And so I was sketching Robert Moses on the train with a caption, "Is this the commie future you want for yourselves?" And then my freaking train broke down. Almost like I invoked the ghost of the man.
He knew. Because he hated public transit famously. He made bridges too short for buses to go under so that black people couldn't get from their parts of the town to the beach and stuff like that on buses.
Wow, that sounds impractical for so many reasons. Like your racism is holding everyone up, actually.
Except for people that can have cars.
Welcome to Nobody Drives in LA, a car-free Los Angeles podcast where we talk about the pleasures, perils, and everything involved with getting around LA without a car. We are not at our usual hangout home zone at the Koreatown Public Library. Today we are in our guest's recording space. Usually we kick off every episode with a very hard-hitting question, which is, I swear this ties in, which is, how did you get here today?
How did you get here today?
Well, I woke up here, actually, if you can believe it. We're in my one-bedroom apartment in my living room.
The mysterious voice who is not me or Eric you're hearing is our guest, Danny Vega, who's one of my one-wheel friends, podcast heroes, and all-around awesome dude.
I love it. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, I love this neighborhood because it's walkable, little Echo Park plug to bring us in. I think it's ranking. People have talked about it with me. Like people seem to know even.
In 1889, there was a horse-drawn trolley that went up Echo Park.
That's right. I've heard about the horses.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah.
It was the Elysian Park.
It was Initial Sound Avenue. It was before it actually echoed out.
Yeah, because Echo Park didn't get built until like 1897 or something like that. So yeah, Elysian Heights was first, and then whenever it got electrified, it probably with the great merger with Pacific Electric Railway, but there was an electric railway that ran up here till 1950, which people will be like, oh, boohoo, why can't we go back to that? Well, the Dash bus is pretty much just as good. And I saw the Dash bus going up Echo Park Avenue as I walked over here. It goes to the same spot at Cerro Gordo and like turns around up there.
I was expecting to see you get off of the Dash bus today.
I actually got off an earlier stop because I was going down Glendale Boulevard in the bus, which also used to be a train right away and is not anymore. So at this time of day, 5 o'clock, it's jam-packed with cars because the bus doesn't get a dedicated busway anymore or right-of-way. So I just got off a couple stops early and just walked over the hill. I was just like, this is annoying. But the bus ride itself on the 92 was totally uneventful as they usually are.
I have an Echo Park Ave story, actually. So Echo Park Ave runs, I guess, north-ish, something like that, and it ascends. We're kind of going upward, right?
Kind of deceptively.
Yeah, well, it's kind of gradual. It's kind of nice.
You're riding your bike up there, you realize it's a bit more of a climb than you might think.
So I was out one-wheeling, and for, I'm sure they know at this point, the one-wheels, they go about 20 miles an hour, and I'm there on the top of the line one-wheel, which I have, which costs, crazy amount of money. And I was relatively new, so I was like, I got the sickest one-wheel in town. Kyle can't f with me. Nobody can touch me, baby. And I see this guy on this strange skateboard. It was a very long board, and it appears to be covered like in a shag rug. And I was like, what? Who is this guy? So I see him and I'm like, board recognized board. So I was like, what's up, man? And he's waiting for the dash bus. And he goes, bro, this is our VAIL. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And he goes, we're gonna take this up and we're gonna come down. I do this every Sunday. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so I took the dash bus up with him. And then we basically went up the hill. This man, by the way, was a, quote, sliding scale acupuncturist with children, no helmet, no protective equipment. So we get to the top of the hill and I was like, bro, I'll film you. I'm on the one wheel, like no prob. So we start to go down the hill. He ghosts me, just, he is going. I mean, he must be going 40 miles an hour. No brakes, nothing. Just raw dogging down the hill, flying. I was like, if traffic comes, this guy's dead.
I think I've seen that guy before, unless there are other people for whom Echo Park Avenue is their VAIL.
The one-wheel community, I don't know if this applies to other PEVs, but they are exceptionally daring when they ride. I did a group ride from the Sunset Strip all the way up to Griffith Park and then back down. And on the way over, these guys stopped to smoke, they stopped to get beer twice, and then they were going top speed through traffic, through pedestrians, and they somehow managed also to ride up the trail to the Griffith Park Observatory. I don't know how you can ride that well and be that
wasted. Wow.
What's the other PEV, if that's the right acronym, right? What is the other one that looks kind of like a unicycle?
That is precisely it. It is an electric unicycle.
And do one-wheelers hate those people? And vice versa. Is there a rival? I just want there to be more rivalries.
Well, I've done a lot of research and I'm very interested in them. I mean, they're much more economical. A one wheel, a top of the line one wheel is pretty much $2,000, $3,000, goes 20, 25 miles an hour and goes 18 miles?
18, 20, something like that.
A $2,000 EUC will go 40 miles an hour, 70 miles. I mean, it's literally a vehicle.
What is it? Oh, electric unicycle.
Electric unicycle. Yeah. But I don't like these guys. Now, online, they seem very sweet. I've only seen a handful in person, really. And I ran into this guy, and he was zipping around, really flying on the sidewalk. Like, I would say borderline irresponsible. And he just looks at me, and he goes, too slow, bye. And I was like, you are a cartoon character.
The vibe of them is very, retro futuristic 80s, robo police officer type guy. Always.
Yeah.
We got a lot of them in Santa Monica. They'll go late down the beach path, but they'll just do tricks. They'll flip around, they'll ride in reverse, they'll just make a show out of it as they're going. And this might just be a Santa Monica West Side thing, that we're more of a tame, chill kind of place. But I haven't encountered any animosity between the EUCs and the one-wheel community so far.
It's because you're on the beach, bro. People are chilling. Now you have no personal electric. Is that what that is? PEV, personal electric vehicle.
My bike is acoustic.
Oh, you got an acoustic bike.
Acoustic bike.
I'm in fact having a little bit of one-wheel trouble myself right now, Danny.
Oh no.
So I'm also technically car free now. So I have a
congrats.
I have a Vespa, but it's not a car.
Not a car.
That's not a car. No.
It's a lot smaller than a car. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. That's gas though.
Yeah.
It does say gas.
Yeah. Vespa has electric scooters now, but they only go 35 miles an hour, and they cap at 50-mile range, which I need a little bit more from.
You go on the freeway?
No. No. My commute is, when I'm working commercials, is going to be from Santa Monica, pretty much following Santa Monica Boulevard to Beverly to Fletcher to land in Atwater Village.
Oh, okay.
Famously pleasant Santa Monica Boulevard. Just a lovely commute, smooth.
Is that legit, or is that?
No, I hate Santa Monica Boulevard. That's the one I want to just turn into a bicycle street. Just be let's just take one east-west street out of all. I remember I said on the last podcast how many streets there are for cars, and it's something like 8,400. It's can we just have one east-west,
just
for bike,
one for
and
bikes.
one north-south?
I love that. Can we make that happen? One north. That's all we really need. You're so right.
Give us Broadway and Santa Monica Boulevard and make them. We'll allow pedestrians on them too.
Let's discuss this commute option briefly, right? So I have to get from Santa Monica to Atwater at roughly 4 a.m.
This is huge for me. Was Venice Boulevard not viable? Because that was my last hope. That Venice is not. I heard Venice is nice now.
So Venice, I do the bottom half of Venice Boulevard often from the beach path up to about Sawtell. And there is some flavor of bike lane for the entirety of Venice. I can attest from the beach path to at least Sawtell.
That's not that far.
I mean, it's like 3 or 4 miles. It's about a third of your trip, depending on where you're trying to go. I haven't gone past Sawtell, so there may be more beyond it.
There's a Reddit thread that says that's a good way. I thought that might be our east to west route.
I mean, Melrose would be another option too, but
I'm also seeing options that I could do Pico most of the same way, or Wilshire, and one of them cuts up through Silver Lake to get into Atwater.
Beverly ends right around Silver Lake. I don't know. Well, I guess Beverly keeps going. Beverly kind of becomes Silver Lake. Actually, this is kind of, I was riding my bike home once from Amoeba and I was stoned and I wasn't, I was going a different route. And so when I caught Beverly, I was like, oh, this becomes Silver Lake. But I caught it after that split. So I was in the sort of Westlake area and I started to get closer to downtown and I realized, wait, I don't know where I'm going. So I asked a prostitute because they know the streets generally. I mean,
That's
the
really
ones
funny.
that work out on the streets do. So she just told me
They're some of the few pedestrians. The literal streetwalkers are the only people walking the street.
walkers. Yeah.
The only people who walk in LA.
I have an AITA for you. I think Kyle will hopefully take my side. I hope he doesn't leave me. But AITA for taking a motorized vehicle on a non-motorized vehicle path. I will often go to Atwater Village or Glendale even, and I take the LA River path, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And one time, I don't know what he said because I usually have headphones on.
Right.
But this guy looked at me and yelled at me. And I mean, I just kept going. But I was like, I'm pretty sure he has no grounds to yell at me besides that.
I would say if you're not going crazy fast, then you're not the asshole.
25 max. That's as fast as I could have gone.
That's how
That's like a fast
you can
bike
ride
speed.
that on an acoustic bike.
That's my exact law. And I've been ghosted by an acoustic bike. I'm like, that guy's going 35.
Yeah, I think the speed is more of an issue. I think there are cyclists out there who are just purists and scolds and who think that cycling is only supposed to be about exercise and that that's cheating and they get angry when they get passed, but I think that's all that is really, unless you're going really fast or riding recklessly. I don't personally care if it's powered by muscle or by electricity.
Yeah, I would say hard NTA. I've been commuting around Santa Monica for, like 3 or 4 years now, largely on Onewheel, and I almost exclusively stick to the bike lanes. No one has ever given me any guff about it. I've never gotten any problems on the beach path, downtown. It's safer for you to do that than to try to keep up with a car in regular kind of traffic on a Onewheel. Sure, you could probably lane split when they're slow, but you'll get blasted.
Well, I'll also say it's less obnoxious by far than a car parked with its hazards on in the bike lane or a car driving on a bike trail, which I have seen video of. I haven't seen that firsthand, but I have seen people driving on the Los Angeles River Trail. I saw someone last week driving on a sidewalk because they just didn't want to go in the parking lot behind Mixto. So they just, they just stopped in the middle of Hyperion. Everyone's honking at them. And then they just decided, all right, I'll just drive onto the sidewalk. And I mean, there's a parking lot in the back, but then you'd have to walk 30 feet or something. So you can understand.
So bouncing back to my Onewheel troubles, my Vespa still needs to get its insurance and its paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So I had to work on a commercial last week. So I took the Onewheel and I took the bus, right? And I worked this commercial. I sleep at the warehouse. It's fantastic. I'm coming home from this commercial. I just worked 4 16-hour days, and
you're sleeping there.
Yeah, yep.
And what are the accommodations?
A very nice office.
No bed.
A very nice couch.
Oh, okay.
Very nice couch. It's very warm. We get a lot of furniture and props and random items from productions that they're going to just toss. We redistribute them, give them to nonprofits, give them to whoever wants to come in and take whatever. So they have a lot of deceptively nice furniture. But what I've been doing in the past is if I would work a commercial, which would be probably a 16-hour day if I'm lucky, sometimes longer. Throw in anywhere from a half hour to an hour drive back and forth to commute from that. And I'm doing weeks where I'm only sleeping, maybe 10 hours in an entire week of sleep, which is a lot. So this week,
That's a lot of sleep.
yeah. Like 10 hours total across the week. So this time,
horrible.
so I couldn't take a bus that early to get there. So I figured, I'm just going to go up the night before. I'm going to crash at the warehouse, going to do that for the duration of the shoot, go home. Great. I often take my Onewheel on to sets with me. So if I'm, doing sustainability stuff, flying around studio lots, it's very easy on a Onewheel. It's not easy if you're walking the whole day. So I take the bus back, and in between my transfer in Silver Lake, I don't know, going from near Akbar to wherever you pick up the 4 around there, I must have hit a piece of glass. I got back to Santa Monica at like midnight, and I go to get on my Onewheel, and it just glassed. So my Onewheel is currently down.
Are you gutsy enough to do a tire change?
Oh, I have.
You have.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very
Is it a
difficult.
pain?
It's famously
I
difficult.
hate doing it on bikes. And bikes aren't. I mean, I used to do them all the time when I was little and growing up in the country. But now I live somewhere where there are bike shops. I don't think I've changed my bike.
I'm one of those
years.
guys. I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, there's a guy.
Exactly.
I'll pay the guy.
And I'll tip.
He knows. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, he's
I'm like,
great.
Here's your pizza fund.
Yeah.
Like,
The Onewheel guy, the Onewheel tire guru.
Yes.
He's
King.
like, all around a great dude. Much like with my bike, when I first got it, I got 4 flats within a month.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I simply couldn't justify spending that much money. So I had to learn how to do it myself. The Onewheel tire change wasn't all that bad. The hardest part was just muscling the tire off of the bead, which I do a shitload of CrossFit. So feats of strength are nothing new for me.
This is normal.
Just rip it right off.
Just go to the gym with your Onewheel and then like just start changing tires and they're like, this is my routine.
Yeah.
It's changing. Anyone else got a Onewheel with a flat tire?
I changed the battery on my board maybe about a year or two ago. And that I felt a little sketched with unplugging some of the battery connectors because I broke one of them, like the plastic locks that hold your power cable in place.
Yeah.
Apparently the Onewheel internet says that is fine. That happens with older XR boards. Just hot glue it. So I might take it in to Matt next just to like, did I mess this up last time? But yeah, you can do a fair amount of work on those things by yourself if you're brave.
Well, I have the worst case scenario, I think, for the car free lifestyle.
Well, how long have you been car free now?
I'm very new
Since
to it.
February,
I'm very new since February. No, I had
We're recording this February 20th.
so I had a little Camry, which is a great car. It had 60 miles to the gallon, so like I never had to fill it. But honestly, a big part of it was just that having it was a pain in the butt. I had to do street sweeping and I had to move it. And then I had it in an area where it was like, the demilitarized zone. For whatever reason, there was no street sweeping. And so remember the heat wave? I went to San Francisco, came back, my car got towed.
That's what happened to my last car because I didn't drive it for so long. I had it parked for 72 hours somewhere on a 1-block cul-de-sac street. I was like, no one's going to care.
Well, and I was in this special area and I was like, these crooks, these utter crooks. Like, here I am, I'm a tax-paying citizen and they just ganked my car because they decided they were going to do work.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all pissed. Cost $400, the ticket plus the tow. And I go back to take video because I'm like, I will fight these people. Like they'll give me my money back because I'll make them miserable. And I notice there's a letter, like on one of the signposts. And I read the letter and it's signed by the mayor and it basically just says, hey, we're like, sorry, but we didn't actually do any construction. Sorry. And I was like, you cost me $400.
Yeah.
They still haven't paid me, these sons of guns, but I did get they admitted, they're like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
But they haven't paid me these $400. But that was like another thing where I was just like, God, I literally did nothing and it cost me $400.
Yeah. So when was that? When did you
That
when
was
did you go car free?
September.
And
then and so then I was like, I'm using the car less. I used to go to the west side often. Now I don't. And
your life changes a little bit, but not. I wouldn't say for the worse. I mean, I listened to the podcast that you did where you brought it up, and the guest or the co-host was expressing like that she would not date anyone that was car free, which I thought was funny and also like maddening and also just bizarre, because I was thinking back to my own dating history and I'm like, I've dated people that didn't have cars. I just never thought about it. Like I don't know why that would. I don't know.
I could see it being an issue.
I guess it depends on how you go about dating too. But this is funny because I want to like go into this because I talked to Kyle about this around Valentine's. I was like, we didn't have enough time, but I was like, we should do like a Valentine episode where we ask people about like car-free couples, how they date, and then also car-free singles, how they date, if they date, and have them like just record some audio and send it in to us or something and make like put that together. But we didn't have time. I was thinking of it because someone asked me, how do people date if they don't have a car? And I just thought like, we're in Echo Park. There's like 35,000 people here. Yeah. I looked, there's 50,000 people on Tinder for the whole city. So it's,
interesting.
It's less than 2% of Angelinos are on Tinder, but I think people think that's the way you find people. But then do you really want to be paired with someone that lives in like Gorman or San Pedro or something? It's like, no, it's going to be an enormous hassle, even if you have a car.
Nightmare.
Walk to the closest bar, walk to the closest bookstore, walk to the closest cafe. Those are the people. That's where you should be looking for people to date, I feel like.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to hit on girls more. I'm like,
got like stories.
So where to go? Yeah. Stories, Lassens. Let's go. A little grocery store.
Yeah. The public library is right around the corner.
Local is better. Like we had it figured out. This is like we confused ourselves, right? Like we used to live in walkable village because that's all we could do, and now we're like, oh, now you got to drive an hour
to date, to do everything, to get groceries. Like
I
need to drive out to a warehouse in the Inland Empire and stock up on like 8 months of groceries, and then drive back because there's no more grocery stores in my neighborhood.
There's a term I'm kind of obsessed with. This might be a reach for car free pod, so you guys can shut it down. But I just learned this term. It's called anime. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
The basic concept is normlessness. Like there's no rules kind of bounding your behavior. We talk about the apps and basically this disconnection from our community, right? You just kind of like, it doesn't matter where I live. I'm not connected to the people around me. But when you go do exactly the stuff you're talking about, go meet people at your local shop and create people around you, you start to actually feel a little bit constrained in a good way. It's good. We need boundaries to our behavior. I could go hit on a girl at Stories, but I can't just be like, I want to you, right? I need I need to dress it up a little because I don't want to be banned from Stories.
Yeah. They might be okay with that.
Yeah.
Just talk to a manager first.
Yeah. Can I tell her I want
Yeah.
Let me look at her and see.
What book was she looking at?
Yeah. The bell jar, we'll give you that one. That's hot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even, this neighborhood, when you go up Echo Park Avenue, there are a couple little shops here and there. You can also just tell, though, from the way they look, that some of the places that are now residences used to be grocery stores, used to be bars, used to be businesses. So back in the day, it was actually more walkable, and you could walk to get all of your things and also walk to your workplace, and you didn't need to leave. And that was kind of normal. And we decided, it's better if you pay $13,000 a year, according to AAA, to own a car. And then it's for, what if I want to go to Joshua Tree spontaneously? Or what if I need to date someone that lives...
That's literally what she said, right?
I know. Yeah, so it's like how... I mean, I love Joshua Tree. Everyone should go to Joshua Tree. Joshua Tree is amazing.
Stunning.
I also like renting cars when I go on a road trip, because it's, even when I had a car, renting a car would have made so much more sense, because if your car breaks down, you're screwed. If a rental car breaks down, they take care of it. So, rent a car and go to Joshua Tree. But also, how often are you going to Joshua Tree that you're like, it's worth $13,000 a year?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I tell people sometimes, I'm like, think about it as like, if you said to someone, what if you could get $13,000 extra dollars in your pocket, a raise, and the condition is you just don't drive? And then a lot of people are like, yeah, that sounds good. And it's like, okay, then just do it by selling your car. And they're like, No, that sounds crazy.
Man, yeah.
That's scary. That's my safety net.
So Danny, what has your car-free experience been like since you've been doing these couple of months sans car?
Yeah, so I got rid of the car in December is when I found I was like, F this. And I will say for a month, I was like, I think that was an error. Just that feeling of like, ugh, you know, it was New Year's. So I had to obviously, went to the West Side for New Year's. I was like, oh, $100 on Ubers.
Right.
And then just this feeling like, obviously there's a familiarity, like we're kind of all born into the car matrix. So I was like, oh, I don't have a car.
Right.
But after about a month, I was like, I mean, basically in early February, it was like, yep, this is it. No big deal. Started to feel great in my Uber. Like I just had nose surgery and I had to, obviously I don't want to be on the one wheel when my nose is bleeding, you know? So I took the car to the surgery and then I was like, this actually feels kind of like a baller move. Like now I'm in a car when I need to be in a car and when I don't, I don't. And I ultimately feel richer and freer.
So how has your interaction with just the community that you live in changed since you've been car free?
I think I built the community first and that's where it got me because so I basically record here. We're in my podcast studio and then I go to a co-working space every day. So that's like my work. I work remote and I walk there.
Do you go to places in Echo Park a lot just around here?
Pretty much walk, you know, and then most of my social life is tied there. So I'll be like, you know, hey, Betty, you want to go to blah, blah, blah. Like I was pet sitting for a while. You want to go help me feed the cat? Done.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, everybody else has a car. So I'll just go with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Initially, I felt a lot of guilt when I realized that I don't like driving. And I think there's kind of this reciprocal relationship, or maybe I just projected this in my mind, but if someone drives you, you eventually have to pay it back and drive them.
Right.
And I was always
just back in different. I mean, I just went up to the Waterman Mountain with a friend to hike in the snow, and you have to take a car to get to the mountain. So I just gave him money for gas.
I guess. Yeah, that was a big thing for me to get over. That like, oh, I have to drive. I have to. And the more that I stopped driving and like, oh wait, when I drive people, I can't pay attention to the road and the conversation and my own like racing thoughts and emotions and whatever. Like, I'm going to get into an accident.
They probably want the company too. For example, like, you know, you don't want to be like Julian Sands and go hiking on Mount Baldy by yourself and then get found frozen to death, you know, months later. So he needed me to come with him, or, you know, and I took the bus to the train over to South Pasadena. So I wasn't like, can you come get me at my house? You know, and it went by really fast too. I just look up and I'm like, oh, this is my stop, you know?
You know my opinions about mountains.
Yes, I know. Kyle does not, and I actually brought it up to
You're
my
not a
friends.
mountain guy?
Like, my co-host doesn't like mountains. I don't know why, but I'm like, it could be a touchy subject. I'm not ready to get into it with them yet.
I'm planning a huge mammoth trip right now. It's a 5-hour drive. We're doing a 3. We almost could do it in 2 cars. So we are doing 3 cars. But for 10 people, I'm feeling pretty good.
That's essentially a small bus,
right? Well, yeah, I think the other part is there's this like American idea of, you know, independence and freedom. And I feel like, you know, as guys, we probably all have it a little bit more. It's we don't want to feel like we're depending on others.
Right.
And I've realized this is a toxic concept because, you know, like you're saying, there's so many ways to repay someone if it does become burdensome.
Yeah. And also you can get some of that feeling of, you know, a lot of people say like, I just want to be able to get in my car and go to where I'm going without thinking about, you can do that on your bike. You can do that on foot. You can do that with a ride hail.
Yeah.
Like you can do it other ways on your one wheel.
Yeah.
On your EUC.
It's social, you know, it's social. Like nobody's mad at me for planning this trip and not driving. No one's like, we know the grift you're running, Danny. You got rid of your car and you still want to go to Mammoth.
Well, and I'll say, I also always volunteer to be the driver. So if it is a road trip, I'm usually the one that drives the most. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Oh, interesting.
I mean, we rent a car and then I'm going to be the one that I'm going to do all the driving because I love driving. I just think doesn't make sense inside of cities for the most part.
No, it's terrible.
And since I live in a city, I don't want to have a car. You know?
Yeah, it's great.
But I'd love it. I mean, when I was little, I used to play those video games where it's just driving, and that would drive my mom, pun intended, crazy because she would be like, she hated driving, and she was like, why would you
like like a race car game, like Gran Turismo,
pole position and
got it.
Cruising USA, and just anything where it's like a car. I was like, oh my god, it's so much fun. I'm driving, but you know, I'm like 10 years old or whatever, and she's like, why would that be a fun game to like drive? I'm like, I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto helped me out during the pandemic. But yeah, my other, I think, headline of going car free is that, so I was pet sitting, like I said, that was in Silver Lake. That's about a mile, maybe 2 miles away from here on Onewheel. But I got a little ambitious. I had to go to the car dealership and pick up some stuff. So I went to Glendale, and then I thought, let me go the wrong way, which is to say a new way, a way I don't know. Now, normally I'm not going to be doing that when it's night or anything like that. So I was just a little like, when it was rainy and it was night, you know? And so I wear a motorcycle helmet now, which game changer, by the way. Have you dabbled in this?
I have not, no. I mean, I have a motorcycle helmet now, but I haven't worn it on the Onewheel.
You know, have you ever had the thought like, well, the other issue not having a car is, you know, try having a phone call, try hearing your music, like you're going to take on a lot of wind.
Right.
Motorcycle helmet, bro, I've had phone calls with my brother. I'm on the Onewheel in traffic.
Can you hear though?
Yes.
Like cars and stuff? Okay.
No, it has noise cancellation. He's like, where are you? I was like, I'm on my Onewheel. He's like, how is that possible?
I mean, can you hear cars while you're on your? Because if you have noise canceling,
oh no, I'll just die straight up. No, I'll just die.
I mean, I used to have a Bluetooth speaker on my bike, and I need to replace it. But and then because people also they hear you when I'm blasting music or usually podcasts at double speed, which.
You're one of those guys.
Sorry,
that's
people.
okay. We'll allow it. We'll allow
Unless it's a comedy one, then I might slow it down because timing is important. But if I'm just absorbing information, I'm like, why can't it be like 3 times? Just turn it up. But I did when my Bluetooth speaker died, I rode with my AirPods in, and a car got very close to me, and just it felt like it snuck up on me, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have these in, or I'll leave one in and leave the other one out.
It's probably not my brightest work. But anyway, so I didn't have headphones in during this moment, and I was crossing, basically just crossing. It was like I said, my visor was foggy basically. So I wasn't sure if I made eye contact with the driver. Now, normally I would do that to cross a car's path. And this girl, she was making a right against red. And I had walk. Yeah. And she was looking all the way to her left. Yeah. This is kind of a blind turn.
This is a thing people do a lot. Yeah.
So she just made the right.
They're just looking for cars.
And she's just looking for cars.
They don't care about pedestrians.
Which, to be fair, it was night and raining. So I'm like the only guy. Like,
and
us three.
And people panic when it rains here, when it drizzles here.
Exactly. You know, there's no pedestrians out really. And so, yeah, I don't remember the actual impact, but based on where it hit me. So I would have been left leg forward, and it clocked me in my like quad at the top of my leg. She lowers her window right away. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, you need to pull over right now. And so I kind of read her the riot act. I said, like, what if I had been pushing a stroller? You could have killed someone. And this girl said all the right things.
Okay.
She was just like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're right. I could have killed someone. I was like, I could call the cops right now. She's like, if you call the cops, I'll be right here. I was like, oh, wow. Can't even be mad at you.
And then did you ask her out?
That's what everybody tells me. There's 2 reactions to this story. Sue her brains out or her brains out. I'm like.
That reminds me when the car that I moved out here in, it was a hand-me-down. It was my grandmother gave it to me. She only used it to get groceries. And she lived in rural Iowa, and so it did not have very many miles on it, but it was old and it was ugly. It was a beige 1988 Ford Taurus in top condition with white wall tires.
Oh my God.
So hideous. And then one morning, night/morning, it was after 4, I think, there was a loud crash, and we went out, and someone had crashed into my car and broken the rear axle, and I was like, yes. Like now it's a total loss. I can just get an insurance payout.
Boom.
She was okay. But she did ask me out after we went to court.
She did.
Yeah. I said no. She actually lived like 2 blocks from me, so she was almost home. I could have walked over there. We could have been a car-free couple, but
she's cute, but I was like, she's cute, and she hit me with her car. I'm like, I don't know that's the resume. I think my standards are.
It's kind of like a meet cute. I mean, in a movie, that's the only that would only be charming in a film. Like it's like how in rom-coms, like stalking is like, oh, he's so into her, but in real life, it's like, whoa, it's
terrifying. But you said no. Okay, I feel better that you said no.
Yeah, she just asked me out she was like, you want to get coffee? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
So how has car-free dating been for you so far?
Not non-issue, you know. I mean, I went to her place. I went to a girl's place on a Friday night, so I didn't really want to do a long one-wheel ride that late. So I was like, all right, now I'm spending $40 on the Uber back and forth. That's a little frustrating. But most of the time, I have girls meet me here. It's like never an issue with them. And then I'm happy to pay. I'm normally like fairly chivalrous that way. I'm like, yeah, you came to me, I'll pay, no problem. Non-issue. You know, I think it's the kind of thing where women will say they don't like it. I think it's totally normal to not like it because it's not normal. You know, it's weird. It's like saying,
yeah, if you had a checklist on a dating app or a site or something and it said like, has car, doesn't have car, you'd probably check has car, you know,
of course.
to open it up. Like, just like you might be open to dating someone outside of the age range that you think you would limit, you know, want to limit yourself to. And then you meet someone, you're like, oh my God, they're 2 years older than I said I would date. And then you realize it doesn't matter.
But she's great and she has a huge car.
Yeah.
My secret dream. Yeah, I really don't think it needs to be an issue. I mean, I think once you have kids, it starts to get a little hairy. I think it's tough. I think it can be very tough depending on where you live. But for me now, I'm like, bet one of the best decisions I've ever made. I'm balling.
We should have there should be like a 15-minute city for like 15-minute dating, you know, radius app or something like that, where it's just pairs you to people whose houses you can walk over to or ride a bike to in 10 minutes.
I think for Valentine's Day, Bart in San Francisco did Bart speed dating.
Really?
You go on
That's
the Bart, and your Bart
hilarious.
lines,
I
you know,
love that.
That's how long you have. But my partner has never driven, cannot drive, no depth perception. So that has largely been like just not a thing that pops up in our day-to-day discourse, you know? It's never been something that she's done. And for me, it's been trying to get less driving. And then, I actually don't like driving, so I'm not going to do it. So I think like the harder part for me being in that kind of relationship was just letting go of my ingrained toxicity that like, I have to be the driver.
How are you going to open the passenger door for the woman though if there's no car? That's
how does that work on a one wheel?
Realized, yeah, exactly.
People always can you
Get
put
on the back of my one wheel?
People always go, can you put two people on the one wheel? I'm like, you definitely could, but I don't know where that goes.
Could you like attach one next to one and then have it be like a two wheel with two people on it? Tandem one wheel.
I would imagine going on a one wheel date would be incredibly romantic, assuming you're with someone who is cool learning how to one wheel, because there is a pretty big skill barrier.
There's a little of a learning curve. Yeah,
I got on one. I got right off. It got me off. You know, it's like you're not riding this, not yet. Not without more tries.
As soon as I decided when my engine died, and I decided like, wait, I don't want to spend like $20,000 on, I just don't want this.
Yeah.
Like for what? To go from Santa Monica to Glendale like 5 days a month? Why? And as soon as I made that call, I'm like, stress levels down so much.
Yes.
And I could see the use case for if you have a burning reason that you need a car, then great, get it. But practically speaking, if you can accomplish the same ends otherwise, like why would you? Like, I think most importantly, if you're a responsible person, if you take responsibility for getting yourself around, like who cares how you get where you're going, as long as you get there and the rest of your stuff is in order. I could see the trouble being that like, if you can't get yourself where you're going or you can't figure out the buses.
Yeah, you're like, I'm car free, but I also refuse to bike, walk, take the bus, take the train.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I think you're the problem.
Yeah. Before we started recording, we'll spare the listeners, but we were talking about dreams we'd had. And when I stopped having a car, most of my stress dreams when I had a car were about cars.
Really?
Like I couldn't see through the windshield, like there's ice, or the brakes aren't working and it keeps rolling. And like, it's just always.
Oh my God.
But now all of my stress dreams are about phones not working, not being able to text or make a phone call with it properly.
I mean, that sounds wonderful.
So I think it's just
your brain is very anxious about technology.
It is, yes. or I mean, sometimes it's just something trivial though. It's like a lot of times there's a astronomical phenomenon. Like I'm like, oh my God, look at this amazing planet that takes up half the sky. I got to get my phone out and take a video.
Somebody
of this,
else got
and then
it
it's
though.
Not working.
Somebody else surely got it.
Surely, but in the dream that just never matters.
They don't tell you.
Well, thinking about like stress dreams or actual stress of having a car, when I was driving, I was always paranoid and just freaked out as soon as I would get in my car about, what's going to break today? Am I going to blow a tire? What's going to go wrong with the engine? I know it's burning oil. Oh, is it going to run out right now? Am I going to get hit? Is someone going to hit me? With a bike though, or the Onewheel, if something breaks while I'm on the road, I can just like take out my Crank Bros tool, take off the wheel, drop in a new tube, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
With smaller engines, and even when I had a Vespa back in Pennsylvania, I lost my keys and had to drill out all of the key barrels in my old Vespa, install new key barrels, dismantle the entire bike, put it back together. Like you can do all of that maintenance by yourself if you need to. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, but you can. And yeah, but like with a bike or whatever, I have so much more freedom and less stress because I know if something breaks, I know how to fix it. And you could do it with tools you can throw in your backpack. And I feel like that is ultimate freedom.
I think cars are ugly. Like physically they're ugly.
Yeah.
But
They
I
used to be
mean more
beautiful.
conceptually. Like I love efficiency, and to me that's why a Onewheel is so beautiful. It's almost so efficient. It's absurd. Obviously a bike, right? But it's like you're moving 3,000 pounds to move a person that weighs 150 pounds. Like it's bonkers.
And like up to like 7 empty seats. Yeah. You've got it's like you're lugging around it's like I have a gas powered, piston popping, fuel burning set of 3 ass couches. I have to drag to the corner to grab a tiny bag of chips or a pack of smokes or
exactly.
whatever. And then
to pick up something that weighs 4 ounces.
and then I throw that in the bed of my truck and I drive this off-road vehicle back to, I mean, like, I think I might've told this story on the podcast before, but I had a roommate once, Southern California native, and his girlfriend at the time, Southern California native. And they wanted to go to a restaurant that was a block away. And I said, sure. So I started walking down the driveway towards the restaurant, which you can almost see from my door. And they were like, oh, we're going to drive. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll see you there. And then they thought that I was mad at them and I was like, no, I didn't want to walk to your car and then drive there and then try to find parking and then walk from where you parked, which was over a block away. So for the pleasure of driving, you ended up walking 2 blocks and I just walked 1. But they're not the only people that ever lived in my building that told me that walking to the end of the block was too far. Like my neighbors said that when they found out I walked to Trader Joe's a block away. They were like, it's too far. I had neighbors that I ran into at Say Cheese that I had to get out of the driveway for because they were driving down the driveway to get there. And then I was in the Say Cheese when they got there and they were like, I was like, wait, did you guys drive here? And they were like, yeah, I know, we're lazy. I'm like, yeah.
The thing is, it's like, is it even lazy? The same people will do like a Soul Cycle class and you're like, well, you're not out of shape. You just are like programmed in this weird way. It makes no sense.
And you might end up having to walk even further. But you're like, it is almost like a weird addiction, like having your phone, like people that freak out when they're like, oh crap, I left my phone inside. And it's like, that's okay. We're just walking, over here to this thing. And it's like, can we go back? Do you mind? Like, it's like the binky or something, the security blanket. What if we need to go to Joshua Tree spontaneously and we're a block away without our car?
I'm happy you brought up parking too, just because
that's the main
even
thing.
if it doesn't take as much time, like for instance, to go to Glendale from here will basically take like 40 minutes. So I know it would take 15 minutes to drive, but it's so stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just park further away. I just why do we want to deal with this? Why was this good?
So I think one of the 3 factors that led to the demise of my first relationship with my high school sweetheart, I think was directly related to parking. Because we had very different opinions about parking. That she liked to park as close as you could possibly get, even if you're like, circling around the lot like a shark. And I'm no.
Oh, she's one of those. Just wait for this guy. I think they're gonna leave, and it's like someone's walking towards a car with keys in their hand. And oh, they're just putting stuff in their trunk and they're going back.
So she was
just let's keep waiting here.
So she was like wonderful, super nice person, like the nicest person you could meet. But we would just fight like crazy about parking.
Well, people kill each other over parking spots. I mean, it makes you insane.
It makes
everyone insane.
Yeah. So I think that was like definitely one of the, we are incompatible.
The 3 horsemen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't that really the proof too, that it's just an inherently frustrating, it's like we all, on some level, like all the shit we're saying we've thought through because we're all living it.
Yeah.
But like everyone is angry who's driving. And I have to say, like, cause it's like a modern prison. It's like you're in this glass box, breathing pollution, surrounded by a bunch of other people. You're literally looking at space that is mostly like how'd you put it? Like you're driving around couches.
I believe the term was ass couch.
Ass couch.
Which I guess that's all couches.
Like you're looking at a sea of empty ass couches and you're going 1 mile per hour.
Brake
like
lights. Every second you can, you're like, I need to check my phone to like get me out of here, to take me away. And it is funny because people that talk about how much they like driving, they'll be like, I like controlling the music. I like this and that. And it's like, so you like all of the things that take you out, like that create your own little environment, that remove you from the city that you live in, like you create your own little prison cell. And I feel like it is like prison because it's only people that take cars everywhere that always ask about how long your commute was. They talk about like, oh, it took me 20 minutes to get over here. And then this, but it's like a prison sentence. If you're riding the bus, you look at when you need to leave. And then I get on the bus and then I'm reading or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, now I need to get off. I'm not counting down.
Yeah.
I just say, take the transit app and say, I need to get here by this time. And it tells me when to leave. I'm not constantly like timing it. Like it's been 35 minutes. How much longer?
So when I was going to Long Beach to do the motorcycle safety course, it was probably about 2 hours all told to go from Santa Monica, Long Beach, right? Productivity maxing. I brought my laptop and a hard drive and I was working on a client's editing project for the entirety of my train ride to Long Beach.
Sick.
Like, great. I got 40 minutes. Let's do a bunch of edits. I know I'm 2 stops away. Time to pack up, change over, and there we go.
It's totally recovered time.
Yeah, I made money on the train. It was great.
Yeah.
Since I've been not driving my car to production jobs and to this sort of stuff, I found that I'm less tired, even though my commute is longer taking the bus and taking the train, just because I'm not.
It's definitely it's physically exhausting to drive. Yeah. I mean, I'm a delivery guy. So when I get home after like a short shift, I'm tired and I take a nap. But riding my bike around, it actually makes me more awake, or walking places. Sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I feel sluggish today. I'm going to go for a walk. And if you can find the activation energy and then go for like a 20-minute walk, you're more awake.
So has your carlessness impacted your stand-up game at all?
Well, I'm not doing stand-up right now. This is the year of simplicity, which getting rid of the car is part of. So I just have my day job and my podcast, and then my social life is at my social club. So like, I do think I'm privileged to an extent. I know like some people do have to like go places to work and stuff.
But that's also the privilege that like living in a more densely populated place, like that's a kind of privilege that we should be happy to have that privilege.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's so ass backwards. You're like, God, we could live in a village.
I could live in rural Montana, and it would, but
I was gonna say a village in France in the 1400s. That shit was walkable as hell. Yeah, I mean, it really, I think it would impact if you wanted to really be jumping around the city a lot. But I'll tell you a funny fact. So there's this comic, Suba Agarwal. She's done stand-up forever. When she did mics, she was like, everyone knew her because she would do like 25 mics a week. Like just crazy. She would do 3 mics every night. So I had her on my pod and I go, Suba, how many shows are you doing? She goes, it's so bad here that I'm lucky if I can get 2 shows in a night. Now she has HBO credentials. It's just logistically so difficult.
Yeah. No, there are things, unfortunately, we talk about this a lot. There are jobs for which a car feels necessary, and that's a failing of the city's design and really redesign around cars. Because if you see old footage I sent Kyle a link to the first film footage shot in Los Angeles is before there was a single car on the street. So there's cyclists, there's a tally-ho, whatever that is. I read it in the description. There's horses. Everyone's just weaving in and out. There's no crosswalks. Everyone's just like doing this dance. There's pedestrians all over the place. And it was like that. And then people say, well, Los Angeles was built around the car, but really it was the suburbs that were built around the car after, basically desegregation and white flight. They were like, we need to, and home loans for GIs as long as they were white to buy out in the suburbs and stuff like that. So it was like rebuilt around the car and kind of deformed around the car. But now we have 14% of Los Angeles County is enormous. It's the size of Jamaica. 14% of it is devoted to car storage. 14% of this entire vast county is just for storing empty cars that aren't being used and don't benefit anyone. And whenever people talk about like why they don't like bike lanes, it's like, I don't even see anyone in it. Well, I don't see anyone in a parking lot, So like, should we get rid of the parking lot? Should we get rid of street parking? I don't see anyone in those cars.
And I hate that. I've ran into that on Threads. It makes me viscerally angry because,
they can't unsee it. And it's the same thing as sidewalks. If you see a sidewalk that's empty, no one says, shouldn't we just like drive cars on this? There's no people using it.
Well, I think that's why we truncate our sidewalks and we have two
tiny ones. Yeah. Well, it's also like it's really an inability to see the system. And it's like, if you knew anything about the bike system, you just summed it up so hilariously. Like if we literally had one east to west and one north to south, we'd be gold, and we can't even get that.
Yeah. I mean, the reason we even got paved roads in the cities was mainly because of bikes, because bikes were here first. And people that are anti-bike will always talk about bikes as being like this invading force. Like they're trying to take away space from cars. And it's like, there were cars on none of these streets. Like none of these streets were made for cars in the core of the city. No. And there were people that lived here for 13,000 years in what's now Los Angeles, and they didn't have cars.
They were car free.
They were all car free. I think there's a lot of wisdom too in cultivating your community to be a little bit smaller and more focused. Like I initially found that when I moved out to LA, I knew that I didn't like most of LA apart from Santa Monica at the time. So like my whole time, I very much just been, I don't really leave the West Side ever.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people live in Santa Monica? I'm just curious.
I believe we're like 85, 90,000.
Like that's the size of a college town and a lot smaller of an area, And when like people go to college, they're not like, I can't meet a single person I like here.
Yeah.
Because you're in classes that were with people that you share interests with. But a lot of times, a college town is usually more spread out than Santa Monica. But like Echo Park is 35,000 people. That's like the size of Ames. So if you go to Iowa State, it's, you're like, Ames. Oh, but this is it's like a walkable college town. And then, Silver Lake has 40,000 people. Westlake has 110,000. Koreatown has 120,000. Downtown has 80,000. All those places are like really close to Echo Park. So within an easy walk, commute, bike ride, no transfer bus ride, you've got like 500,000 people living around you. And if that's not enough, I don't, like to find people that to build a community, I don't understand what is. And maybe that's because I lived out in the boonies with my aunt and uncle who met in their closest town to them was like 1,200 people, and their graduating class was probably like 50. And they've been together since they were, in high school, and they're still together. And I'm like, if you can find your soulmate out of like 20 women,
there's
in your
enough
grade,
people.
There's enough, Survivor, all those like reality shows where it's like 6 people on an island, then they all fall in love with each other in like 2 episodes and are crying. It's like, clearly you don't need the entire 4 million of the city or like 19 million of greater Los Angeles at your beck and call.
The other day, I went out for a walk and I came home and there was just this big heaping, steaming pile of compost sitting on the street outside of my building's gates. Like, I love compost. What's going on here? And my neighbor, who's this, adorable old guy, he's out there with a shovel, shoveling a bunch of compost into wheelbarrows. He's like, we got a permit to have a no parking spot here, but we didn't actually get the permit to put compost on the street. So we got to shovel all this into the building's community garden before we get really mega fined. Like, all right, give me a shovel. Let's go. So I got to talking with my neighbors who are installing a new community garden in the building. And through talking, biking and the rest of it came up. And it turned out that this dude in my building has been like car light, near car free for a very, very, very long time. And I got to make friends with a dude in my building who I've, seen in the mailroom for years and just never talked to, bonding over 1, shoveling compost, and 2, getting around the city without a car. Like, I think when you find people that are of a similar mind, you're working in sustainability, it takes a certain kind of person to be okay with sorting through garbage for 16 hours a day. Like, you have to not have an ego. And I think if you're getting around car free, you have to have a certain disposition to be able to do it. And I think when you find those people, it's just inherently encouraging.
Yeah, and maybe just being car free, you're more open to be engaging with people that you don't know, because you have to, the bus, it's like it is a third place. There are going to be people on the bus that you don't know, probably all of them, You might recognize the bus driver if you take that route a lot, but you're going to run into people you don't know and you're going to navigate it. And it's like kind of like going to some space that's not work and that's not home, where you're not curating who the guests are and you have to function.
I actually have a bus driver tidbit. So I was at this party and this guy goes, yeah, we're for the city of LA. And I go, what do you do? And he goes, I work in operations. And so then we moved on because that's like one of those jobs that are like, what the hell does that mean? So then I was like, so what do you do, man? Like, what does that mean? What do you control the giant gears that run the city underneath?
The city, yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, I'm a bus driver. And I was like, well, why didn't you just say that? And he goes, it's kind of like And I was like, that's so what? And that's all kind of part of this like car brain bullshit where I'm like, that's a very honorable job.
Dude,
like,
I can't imagine. It just seems like it would be so stressful to me to be the bus driver.
Difficult, very difficult.
I would be like dropped to my hands and knees like, oh my God, you're a hero.
I witnessed a bus driver handoff today. It was on the 4 going from downtown to Echo Park. The bus pulls over. They, close the gated whatever the defense glass is. They barricade off the defense glass. Bus driver 1 like enters her robot code, gets off the bus. They high five. The dude comes in, straps himself in, closes that, does the robot thing. Off they go. I don't know if like Metro brought like a shuttle car for this bus driver because there was a car illegally parked with another car flashing behind it. So I don't know if they have this like secret bus driver shuttle service that gets the drivers back to however they get home. But I'm very intrigued about this. If any bus drivers are listening and you'd like to come on and talk to us about how you get to and from your bus, please let me know.
They just started, I believe, enforcing the buses now have the capability of taking pictures of cars that are parked in bus lanes and those cars getting a fine.
Yes.
So I'm like, now, can we do that with bikes? Can we deputize all cyclists?
Give us an app. Boom. Busted.
Like, photo. Send it in. Find this person.
Obnoxious.
Get them out of here. But also at the same time, not just to be punishing of people that are car dependent, but we need to redesign the curb too. It doesn't need to be all free storage for up to 72 hours for free for everyone. Like you could have a scooter corral and a 15-minute zone because everyone does get everything delivered now, and a couple metered spots or whatever.
And maybe some curbs that have sloping lips, so you don't have to curb nudge whenever you're trying to get your wheel up onto a curb if someone's coming at you. Before we time out, I would like to share. Kat wanted to share her thoughts on car-free dating, so maybe if this is helpful. And she says, I know there are different societal expectations for guys in that I'm maybe not as aware of, but I've never had a problem as a non-driver making friends or dating when I was single because anyone who's put off by me not driving is just not a fit for me anyway. I like living in cities and exploring, and I've always been very conscious about not being a leech or a burden. RE, why I got a $100 cab to watch Kyle do Shakespeare in the park when we first dated. We lived in the country, so we only had cabs. I'm happy to pay for an Uber if the event calls for it. I won't ever ask for a ride. If someone offers and prefers to drive, cool, but I'm also fine walking, taking transit, whatever. If anyone was put off by me not driving, they just wouldn't be my people or share my values, and that's a deal breaker for me anyway. Being car-free just helps weed out people who aren't a good fit for me, if anything. I'll get places as easy as anyone else and share the load, split the Uber with a friend, or pay for their meal, fuel, whatever, if they want to drive. So it doesn't matter how I get there unless someone is just weird about cars, and if they are, probably not my people.
Spot on. I think she's right.
She's not going to date Jay Leno. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, Jay's out.
I think she's nailing it. I also feel like it's one of those things where even if someone says it, I'd be like, that's not really, why you're not dating
this guy's
them.
Perfect, but he uses bikes and transit and walks.
Said no one ever. Said no one ever.
And look, if you're biking and one-wheeling, you're probably going to have fantastic calves.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty bulky.
Well, I do want to know what their stories are of car-free couples, what they do, and also like car-free singles. I'm curious about that.
So while we're wrapping up here, Danny, anything that you would like to plug while we're on before we fly out?
Well, I mean, if you happen to have the episode number handy, we should tell them to listen to my podcast, Am I the Asshole Podcast, where I break the car-free news. I know it's with Evgenia.
It's like 589?
No, it would be six something.
The episode we were talking about specifically today about car-free dating was 687.
687.
AITA for not filling up my gas tank on a long drive.
Yeah, it's got some car etiquette for the drivers.
By the way,
but,
both of those people sounded like assholes. the people. I was like, God, I would just be like, can you pull over and let me out?
yeah, I don't want to be with you guys.
I'm just gonna walk through a field, clear my head.
Yeah, and join Kyle and I in the Vesker one wheel community. Get a one wheel, people. I mean, we didn't talk about this. Maybe if can I bring up one more talking point?
Please do.
Well, I want to be a biker, and I had a wonderful bike in New York City, and I loved it. It was a Trek hybrid. It was a 10 out of 10 bike. I loved it. It was $800 and it weighed 30 pounds, and it killed it. But I don't like the bike here because I feel like being on the sidewalk with the bike, and I don't feel safe on I don't know, 70% of the roads in the one wheel.
Yeah, there's not a ton of bike lanes here in like Echo Park, Atwater.
I want the city to make it illegal to ride on the sidewalks as long as there's like a class 3 or whatever, like the most protected kind of bike lane.
Yeah.
Because then it would be like, oh yeah, you'd think people might get behind that and be like, yeah, we don't, because I ride on the sidewalk sometimes. I mean, I have a bike lane. The bike lane in front of my house ends at that block, and then I'm dumped onto 4. And sometimes I just don't want to wait to cross traffic to get to the bike lane on the other side when I'm like, I'm just going to go slowly on the sidewalk. And, but yeah, a sidewalk is basically a dedicated, protected pedestrian lane. We just don't ever frame it that way in conversation, but that's what it is.
Oh
it's
my
a
God, I love
pedestrian
that.
lane.
I love that.
We expect to have, we don't always, protected pedestrian lanes along every street on both sides of the street. So we should have the same for bikes. And it's not like we're going to take all the space for bikes. There's still room for cars.
Just a lane.
Yeah, just one lane that's 5 feet. That's each 2 bike lanes is 1 car lane. So just give us one seat at the table. We'll split it up and share it.
This has been fun, guys. I feel validated. Car free.
Well, Danny, thanks so much for coming on and letting us record in your wonderful studio.
Hey, anytime, guys.